The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and his Indian counterpart, the External Affairs Minister Dr. S.Jaishankar, held a press conference in New Delhi. The presser came after Pompeo's high-stakes meet with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Dr. Jaishankar. Trade sanctions on Iranian oil imports and the Indo-Russia S-400 deal were high on the agenda during these talks. Jaishankar said that New Delhi and Washington enjoyed good defense ties.
We had a discussion on our defense cooperation. That again has been a very encouraging story over the last decade or more. Today we operate a number of American origin platforms and other equipment. And the key point here is that if that is to continue to grow, it's important that we display trust and confidence in each other.
On the issue of U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil imports, Jaishankar said that Washington understood New Delhi's energy needs.
We also discussed energy issues, and I underlined the importance of stability, predictability, and affordability in terms of India's energy imports. Again, you all know that we have started sourcing some of our energy from the United States in recent years. On trade and investments, the U.S. is today our largest trade partner. It's among our key investment sources as well. And what has been clear in the last few years is that as both economies have grown strongly, new opportunities have been created by new demands, and we were both very optimistic about where our economic relationship is going and can go.
Pompeo also said that the United States is looking to resolve its trade differences with India.
We want to have a flourishing economic relationship, a trade relationship that is free and as each country having the opportunity for foreign direct investment in the other's country to grow jobs and create wealth in each country. When I think about the two issues you raised, I think about them as real opportunities, things that I know that we can work together on will provide a foundation for the relationship. I said this in a speech I gave now, I guess, a week back or so. I talked about that. Certainly it's the case that the United States is an important partner for India. You should know we all believe, not just in the administration, but on Capitol Hill as well, that India is an important friend and partner for the United States of America as well, that America is an enormous beneficiary of the success that India has and continues to have, and I know with Prime Minister Modi will continue to exploit. So when I stare at these issues, they're issues of the moment. We will find a way to work through them, and I know that when we come out on the other side of each of those, the relationship will be stronger. We'll have done great things together.
WION's Ramesh Ramachandran, our associate editor, joining us for more on that story. Ramesh, good afternoon. A high-stakes visit, a high-stakes interaction. I can't stress how important this meeting is right now for India. First, to Dr. Jaishankar's comment that the United States understood New Delhi's energy needs. What more should we be reading into that statement?
Well, Aisha, it was, as you said, a very important meeting, the first of its kind in Prime Minister Modi's second term in office, the first high-level visit from any foreign capital to New Delhi, and that was by Pompeo. But that said, coming to the issues at hand here, Aisha, it might not be an exaggeration to say that both sides agreed to disagree on a whole range of issues, be it Iran, be it the purchase of Russian weapons, and also trade. If I can quote Minister Jaishankar, he said that he did discuss the situation obtaining in the Persian Gulf now as we speak. He says India shared its concerns about energy security. Remember, India buys oil from Iran, but it's discontinued that after the 2nd of May when the US lifted the exemption on India. And since then, India has not been buying Iranian oil at all. And that has a telling effect on India's energy needs. He also said that India has deployed its capabilities in the Persian Gulf to protect its interests, its shipping lanes, its commercial lanes, so to speak. At the same time, he says we had a frank and open discussion on Iran issue. Now, that is from the Indian side, but from the American side, Mr. Pompeo said that in any relationship, there will be disagreements. He says even friends have disagreements, but he was hopeful that both sides could work through their disagreements going forward and leave it to the political leadership of the two countries, namely President Trump and Prime Minister Modi, to discuss these issues at some length when they meet at the margins of the G20 Summit in Osaka in just a few days from now.
Indeed, and I suppose that was diplomacy at its best, Ramesh. The choice of words very interesting on both sides. But also, is it safe to say then, going by your assessment of Dr. Jaishankar's remarks, that India has categorically resisted any strong-arming techniques from the United States, and that perhaps will set the base for the bilateral between India and the United States in Osaka?
Well, essentially, Aisha, this was an exercise in getting to know each other, getting to know each other's viewpoints on some of the contentious issues, be it the situation in the Persian Gulf, be it India's need for buying oil from Iran in spite of the U.S. sanctions, India's need to buy the S-400 missile defense system from Russia in spite of the threat of American sanctions. Remember, America says we will impose sanctions, we will invoke the CAATSA, which is countering America's adversaries through Sanctions Act, if India buys the S-400 from Russia. At the same time, India says India cannot wish away its long-standing defense ties with Russia. Therefore, things as they are very delicately poised. It will be up to the top leadership level in both countries, President Trump and Prime Minister Modi, to work through these differences going forward. And in that context, the forthcoming Modi-Trump meeting on the margins of the G20 will be something to watch out for.
Indeed, we'll be keeping track.